beginning, like, a new Sefer, a Sefer BaMidbar. BaMidbar is really called numbers because the Jewish people are counted so many times throughout the entire Sefer. Translated, if you look, at least they translated the top book of numbers because they were counting so many times. So maybe we'll
I didn't realize that was a Jewish thing.
Yeah, it seems that we accepted it. So therefore, we're going to go with it. And really just the idea is because we counted so many times. Because I'm sure it's...
We were seating a spot.
This is for you.
Hi, I'm David.
When did you guys start? About 6 seconds ago.
6 seconds.
We just went over how the numbers is the midbar. We counted lots.
And in this part, right, we're going through how there was a lot of countings throughout Sefer BaMidbar. Once in this week's parsha, later on, and we'll speak about that for a little bit. What's the idea of numbers? So just to start out with the question, if we were to take a look at the end. So the beginning of the parsha begins with all the Jewish people being counted. Moshe appoints one person from each of the Shvatim, each of the tribes, to count the Jewish people, and they go and count, and the Torah speaks at length the amount of people are in each tribe. And then finally at the end of verse 44 through 46, it kind of recaps all that the last 40-odd psukim have been discussing. So it goes that these are the countings, Elah HaPekudim Asher Pachad Moshe, these are the countings which Moshe and Aaron counted. And then the next pasuk says, and this is the number that were counted. And then finally in the next pasuk it says, you should know the number was 600,000. So it tells us this is the counting, and you should know the amount of people that were counted were 600,000. So it seems very repetitive to tell us they were counted and they were counted, and by the way, let me tell you the number was 600,000. It seems very repetitive. Why does the Torah, we know who's so careful about speaking concisely, seem to repeat itself so many times? That's the question of this. The Ramban poses a different question. He says that after it goes through the amount of people in each shevet, in each tribe, so it counts and it lists every single tribe, and then at the end it recaps again and says 600,000. So Ramban asks, once I know the amount of people are in each tribe, then I can just figure it out by myself. Then I could just add up all the tribes and find that, and then I'll know the result of that, of adding up all the tribes. That will be the amount of people that are in that are in the entire Jewish nation. So why does the Torah have to repeat and say that there's this amount in each tribe, and in the entire nation there's 600,000? That's the Ramban's question. So the Ramban says that Ramban, because of the second question, that why was there a repetition of the amount of in each shevet and then in the entire Jewish nation, so he says that there were two mitzvahs that Moshe was given to count. One was he was given to count the people and their shevet, and then there was a mitzvah to count the entire Jewish people. So first he goes and fulfills one mitzvah and he counts all the people in that shevet, and then he comes out with an accounting for each shevet. Let's say Reuben has this amount, Shimon has this amount, and he goes through all the shvatim. And then there's a second mitzvah. The second mitzvah is to count the entire Jewish nation. So therefore the Ramban explains that that's the reason why there were two countings. There was a counting of each shevet because that was one mitzvah. And then there was a counting of the entire Jewish nation, so that was the second mitzvah. So the reason why the Torah reiterates the amount that's in each shevet and the amount that's in the entire nation is because that there were two separate mitzvahs, and each counting reflects one of the different mitzvahs. That the Ramban explains why it's like that.
should we take from that our own lives?
So we'll try to take out something. We'll try to get to something that we could take with. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So there's a question like this. So let's try to make a little bit, and then we'll try to get more and more practical. So first of all, the Ramban then asks the question. He says, "I don't understand." It says if you go through the psukim. It goes through the commandments, and it says you should count everyone, take a census of everyone, count each household by their names, that they each should be named, every male, 20 and above, each person should be named. In fact, Midrashim say that every person came and wrote his name down on a piece of paper and gave it to Moshe or put it in a box, but each name was read. Each name had to be read. And then it continues, and what was the purpose of counting each individual and each shevet? What was the purpose of that? Why was there such a command? Why was it important to know every person, every shevet? Meaning that I understand why it's important to know the nation, and I understand that it's important to know the shevet, but why does every person have to be counted? Why does every shevet have to be counted? Just count the nation. If that was really the purpose. He says like this. I don't understand what was the reason for this mitzvah. Why was it necessary to count? Why was it important? Why did Hashem command this mitzvah? And if you're going to tell me the reason why it was important, because they're about to make the flags later on, each shevet gets given a position around the Mishkan. So it's important to know that every shevet, to know where a person's position is around the Mishkan. He says, so then you could do that without any counting. Why do I have to count? Why do I have to count at all? Just say that I'm from the shevet, and then I'll be able to, then I'll know where to stand, where I should camp. Why is that important to know the numbers? That's the Ramban's question.
Is there any, I could be way up base, is there any correlation to the fact that Bnei Israel complained that, well, I think from the same amount of people that left Mitzrayim, the same amount that entered from the Yitzhak to the Israelites, I think it was the same amount because of all the people that had died that said that we're here you brought us here to die, but it wasn't none of their children, all of their children all survived. There's something to do with that counting too. If I remember correctly.
Right, no, so that's for sure true. That's for sure true that there was two countings. There were two countings in the desert, in the wilderness after this part, and the number of people on each count was exactly the same. So that's for sure true.
But all the people that said that you brought us to die, they all died.
They all died. But that's for sure true.
The counting doesn't have anything to do with to know how much money will be accumulated later for upkeeps and expenses and everything.
So that's one. So you're suggesting that the reason why it was important to know is just, if I'll just rephrase it a little bit, but the idea is that to know how much that they're about. It says that you should count them according to the people who will be going out to war.
Right.
That's I think that you're driving it.
Well, okay, that's true. I mean, they said anybody eligible that go into the legion means that's not able to go to war, right?
And now just to continue with your thought, and now they're about to go into war, and they need to know how many supplies. I think this whole purpose was to know they're about to go to battle they're about to go into the land of Israel, and they're about to battle. So you just have to know how to the amount of troops you have, how much supplies you need, how much resources.
Is there an idea that once you count something, you know the number's fixed, and of course both you can drop anything. I mean, in that particular aspect of it, right? There's no way of meaning not counting numbers, and we actually don't count people.
That's question. So you're raising a great question. The Gemara in Bava Metzia says that that only something that's not counted or something that's hidden from your eye, meaning something that you can't see, is it possible that bracha will descend on it, meaning it will be blessed. But once something is counted, then it's fixed. You can no longer change it. So why would Hashem tell the Moshe to count the Jewish people, and by counting the Jewish people, then there's no potential for blessing anymore because everything is fixed. And once an accounting was made. I don't know, that's a great question. I would say like this. The entire Jewish nation wasn't counted. There was a specific group of people that were counted, the males between 20 to 60. But the entire the Levium were they were counted later. Just the soldiers, and the Levium from 30 days up.
But I'm saying, that's all beautiful and lovely, but then the soldiers are just fighting.
So when we say bracha, that they'll multiply, that'll become bigger. We don't know what's...
There are 467,000 soldiers.
Right.
We know that number, so tomorrow there's still going to be 467,000 soldiers. Whereas, we have a bunch of soldiers, so tomorrow we have a bunch of soldiers, and hey, look, 5 more. Right? It's bracha.
Right. Right here.
Along that thought, from the previous chapter, from the previous parasha, I think it says one will chase 50, 10 will chase 10,000, so like 457,000 would be like
right, so you don't even know it, right. No, I hear. So you want to say that, so what do you suggest should happen now that you're a general? You're in charge of the Jewish army. So you're told. So what do you suggest should happen at this point? You have a troops, and you want to put everyone into their units or make up units. So what do you suggest as a general, knowing this?
Kind of walk around cities and go fight yourself. That was just one time.
No, we have a rule. It's actually the Rabbi quotes here. We have a rule that don't rely on America.
Yeah, but Yosef yelled after that.
So Yosef.
So I would assume the general.
So what did Yosef do wrong? I mean, you're asking that Yosef was in the pit and he asked the cupbearer to remind Paro that he's still here. It's been 10 years. Let him remind Paro. Yosef should have relied on America. That's right. That's what you're arguing.
And you see, on his level, so he's sort of. But on our level, we have to run your shot.
No, I'll give you a different answer. Maybe not. That people definitely do say that approach. The Chazon Ish says a different approach. That you see from the fact that the cupbearer, the way he described him to Paro, showed that he had a tremendous dislike for Yosef. The way he described him to Paro, he goes, a nar, Eved, Ivri, a young lad, meaning someone who was a kid, it's not important, an Eved, a slave, like someone of the lowest part of society, a Jew, that's even the worst. So he had a tremendous dislike, right, that Jew.
Dirty deeds.
So when you don't go to such a person to try to help you out, that already showed when he did something that was, he already did something that even, it showed he was too desperate, that he went to something that he would not have.
This is Chazon Ish.
This is Chazon Ish, right.
So what about everyone else?
What about everyone else? If you're there, it's okay.
What?
You've been there for 10 years. You text me. I'll let you know, but hopefully it never happens. But, for everyone else.
What about all the other, the Chofetz Chaim, the Ramchal, the Ramban. I thought the majority of opinion was that on his level, he's not supposed to. That's what most Muslims say. No, most condolences.
Right. So what? So what's
I'm saying, what are the levels of the generals? Are they on the level that you're relying on the miracle or not? And if they're not, if they're just people, so what are they doing being generals in the show? We know David our king is the middle of the door. We're not talking about the documents now who have the key lining in charge. We're talking about the new Torah. Sorry.
Right. No, here. So even so you'd have to say, but still even so you'd have to say like this. Let's say I agree with you that the generals are on this level. Okay. Because now I'm
saying soldiers attack and they're going to go through.
Right. That's very nice for the general to say.
Yeah.
What do you do with the guy who's going out to attack?
Yeah.
He's not holding on that. What?
I thought only I thought the people who was didn't die.
Yeah, there's one battle where people died. After that, no one died.
Yeah.
The battle of
Who cares if your tactician is brilliant or you're just like, guys, the enemy's that way, go. I mean, if a Kurdish broker wants to die, he's going to kill you. He doesn't, he's not going to. Yes, there's these stagers, but we're talking time in the Vienna. Things are a little bit different than I think.
Right. So right. But yet Hashem tells him to go out to war. Why? Let me ask you a different question. Why do you say to go out to war at all?
He says go to war, but we don't see any brilliant moves of tactical attack.
Okay. Because that's how Hashem told him to fight.
Right.
But
so who cares about numbers? Once you're
But that's after Hashem tells them to go out to fight. But before they go out to fight, they have to prepare as a nation to go out to fight. So as a nation, their responsibility is ain't some phenomenon that we don't rely on miracles. When Hashem tells us to do otherwise, okay. So then we do otherwise. Then we're given a direct command. But initially, we don't go out to war with, you know what? Really, this is God's war. I don't have to do anything. So you'd have to say like that. That's really one reason the Ramban gives. They have to count to know how many people they're going out to war. Then the Ramban says what I found two other reasons, which both worth just speaking about for a little bit. One is the Ramban says that before you go out how are they counted? Each one will walk by Moshe, and Moshe will look at them and say their name, and then
Moshe
they would
would
go.
say their
It says that Moshe, I'm reading the language.
Moshe knew everyone's name.
The Oki, here it says like
so many Jewish names back then.
the Oki Habal Lifnei Av HaNeviim, they would come in front of the father of Neviim, meaning Moshe, the Achav Kadosh Hashem and Aaron. V'hu Noda Aleim Bishmo, and he would refer to them by name. Yilo B'dvarahu Zechus V'chaim, and this would be a Zechus, a merit for life. Just by going in front of Moshe mentioned, this would be a blessing. They say that this is where the Sfarim bring down, this is the whole idea of going to a Rebbe and giving a pitum. It comes from this Ramban. That you go to the Rebbe, you write down the name, and the Rebbe reads the name. Actually, the source of it is from the Ramban. Nachmanides. Yeah.
What's it? Every single person would go to Moshe?
Everyone.
Wow.
Yeah. But you could, So the Mefarsh, I saw just this today, that Mefarsh and the commentaries say that the counting did not occur in one day.
Yeah.
It was over a period of time. Because to get 600 down and say each one by their name took more than one day. So it was
I mean, I don't see an issue there. Santa Claus goes to every home on Christmas night, and Eliyahu Navi goes to every home on Pesach night.
Right. That, by Eliyahu Navi, there's a fascinating Shuvas Kassam Sofer. There's a question like this, right?
Yeah.
The question is, we believe, and it's brought down in Sfarim, this is where we believe it, that Eliyahu Navi goes to every single bris. Right? By every bris milah, Eliyahu Navi's there. So I have a question. What happens if you have two questions? What happens if you have a bris, two brisim that are happening simultaneously? One problem.
My Rosh Hashiva once had 3 brises, and Eretz Yisrael happening at 8:15 by the same Noah in 3 different locations.
What?
What's it called Jewish time?
Right, exactly. That I hear. That's good. One was from a Yaki, one was Hasidish, so it all worked out. Then another problem, which is a really more difficult problem, there's a Gemara in Eruvin that says that Eliyahu Hanavi can't come on Shabbat. There's a question, could Eliyahu Hanavi, there's a question about Eliyahu Hanavi being able to come down on Shabbos. Because of the tefillin. That means a person's not allowed to go beyond a place where people live, like 2,000 amos, about around a mile, a little less than a mile. So
another exception I learned this morning.
Oh yeah? Wow.
The Adim for the Rosh Chodesh. They were
fantastic. Yeah, no, 100%. That was, there's a mission in Rosh Hashanah. You're learning Rosh Hashanah.
They didn't go that
To be Makadosh the Chodesh, when they see the new moon. Then they
and even if they see other ones in front of them, they can still go and Mechal Shabbos
but they need to get there. So now there's a big problem. So if you say that Eliyahu Hanavi can't come down, so what happens if there's a bris on Shabbos? So what do you do on a bris on Shabbos? Eliyahu Hanavi can't be there?
Why can't he be in the chair? Is there a mitzvah for Eliyahu Hanavi to be at a bris?
He's commanded.
Is it our problem that Eliyahu Hanavi can't come? We have a few to do bris mitzvah.
I'm not talking about our responsibility. We're going to have the bris. The question is, do we say Zekisei Shel Eliyahu Hanavi Hu Omed Al Yamino? Do we say all these things?
Listen, the other day my father was out doing whatever. I still didn't sit in his seat.
Right.
It was still my father's seat.
Right. No, the question is, right. No, true. But then the problem is he hasn't, right, but it says that he has to be there by every bris, and it seems like we accept that he's there by brisim even on Shabbos. So there's a Sam Sofer who says in Shuvah, he says it really depends. We know Eliyahu Hanavi has really two forms, so to speak. There's Eliyahu Hanavi as a human being, and there's Eliyahu Hanavi as an angel. It says, the Midrashim say that when he goes up, then he'll go up. On this land, he goes into his body. He has a physical body, and then when he's ready to go up to Shemaim, so he leaves. It's like clothing. He takes it off and goes there. So he's in angel form, and he could be in human form. That's what the Chassam Sofer says in the Shuvah. So he says, so when he comes to a bris, he's coming as an angel. So as an angel, he's not bound by time, by space. So he could be in many brisim at the same time. So he has all the. So he's okay. So therefore, this will answer how we got this. This should answer.
So when he's in angel form,
then he goes to the bris, and therefore he's not bound by the tchum, and therefore that's how.
So angels don't have tchum problems.
Yeah, there's maybe one. Yeah, kipshut. Yeah. That's the second. Oh, so just.
Sorry. How does he transfer his body? Does he have to go back to where the body was, or does he vaporize and...
A spiritual being is not bound by time or space, so it's not really
You said that he had a body, and then he doesn't. He has both.
No, so then he goes into his body, so then he's a...
So Eliyahu Hanavi's body is somewhere on Earth right now.
I don't know where it is. Some somebody didn't let us know. But I can't tell. But that's the thing. So it says that they'll go into Moshe, and Moshe will mention them and look at them, and that itself will be a bracha. I'll just read you a sforna where you have...
Is there a connection between Eliyahu and Moshe and Gibul? One and Gibul?
Not that I'm sure. I don't know. There could be. So there's a sforno that says later on, the sforno says that when Moshe, by the beginning of Haskana, that Moshe wanted to go into Eretz Yisrael, and Hashem says that you don't have to go into Eretz Yisrael, just look at the land. So what was the idea of looking at the land? So the sforno says that when Moshe Moshe by looking at the land, that itself is a bracha. By Moshe looking at everything, that itself, by him looking, when a tzaddik looks at something, there's like the concept of ayin ra, so there's an ayin tova, that itself is a bracha. So this is a similar idea what the Ramban is saying. By looking, by mentioning the name, this is the idea. And I'll just read you one thing. This comes from the Radomsker Rebbe, the Tifer Shlomo.
Sorry?
This comes from the Tifer Shlomo. So just read. He says that I explained to you in another place that there's two types of blessings. We find one blessing in Torah's Kohanim and Vayikra. It says that Aaron lifted up his hands, and he blessed, and that's how the Kohanim, they bless us, and the koach of the bracha, he says, goes through the hands of the Kohanim. And then and that's what the pasuk. And the Kohanim, they have the ability to bless someone through their hands, even if they don't say anything at all. He writes. But then we find there's a higher level of blessing, that even just by looking at the person, that looking already is even a higher level of blessing. We find it says by the Mishkan, he writes, that Moshe saw all what was done, and he blessed it. And it doesn't say what he blessed it with. So Rashi gives a blessing, he said a whole thing. But he wants to say that no, the actual looking at the Mishkan, and just by Moshe looking at it, that itself was the blessing. And therefore there were no words. A person could bless, or Moshe, someone on that level, has the ability to bless someone just by looking, and therefore the Torah doesn't explain what the blessing was. It was the actual looking. And this is why it could be similar along the lines of the Ramban. When everyone filed past Moshe, he looked at them, he blessed them with his eyes, he mentioned their name, and this was a tremendous zechus for the person, a merit for the person, that he be blessed. And this is the second reason why they were counted individually, the Ramban says. And then you have finally one last reason, the Ramban says, it was to show, Hashem wanted to show what he did to the Jewish people. That they went down to Egypt with 70 people, and now they have 600,000 people. So there's the Gemara says that anytime you do something nice to someone else, you give a gift to someone else, you should tell them. So it would foster a friendship. Right, it would foster this friendship by them knowing that you did something nice for them.
So you tell them that you've done something nice?
That's a little bit,
yeah.
But you can't be like, you should just...
Where it goes to modesty is...
I went up to my dad the other day, and I'm like, don't worry, I did the dishes. Right? Not like, hey, look at me, I did the dishes.
Right, okay.
It'd be subtle.
It's a subtle, discreet.
I mean, not manipulative. That's all I can do.
So the Gemara gives an example. Let's say you give someone's kid a cookie.
Right.
So what should you do? You should make sure that there are crumbs on his shirt. So when the parents ask, where'd you get the crumbs from? He'll say, I ate a cookie. What do you get a cookie from? This person gave it to me. Or he says, put something like ink on their face. Again, the same thing. Where did it come from? Similar to your dishes. Right? You do it in that way, and then they'll know, they'll feel good, and that will foster friendship. So these are the three reasons that the Ramban says. So if you go back, I think it fits in so very beautifully with the Psukim. We asked all the way at the beginning, I don't know, that it says, the Psukim seem so repetitive. It says that you should count, and you should know this is the amount that was counted, and this is the amount that was counted. The amount that was counted was 600,000. What's all this repetition? So let's look at the Psukim inside, and we'll see it's beautiful how each one of these Psukim reflect one of the reasons that the Ramban gives. The Ramban again gives three reasons why they were counted. He explains that first it was necessary to go out to war to know how to distribute the troops, know how many troops there were, and how to place them. Then the second reason the Ramban gives that it would be a merit for the Jewish people, because that they'll go past Moshe will look at them, Moshe will mention their name, and by that happen, that will be a merit for them. And finally, the final reason is to show that Hashem wanted to show the Jewish people, look I did for you, like when someone gives someone else a gift, he informs them. So the psukim say,
That last point, Hashem informed. How does who's Hashem informing in the count?
the Jewish people.
So you're saying Jewish people, you yourselves are a gift to you?
No, he's saying like this, you guys came into Egypt 70 people. A lot of people, when you have something, you don't notice it. Hashem says, count it. Recognize how many people you have. And then it's like, wow,
That's the gift.
On a personal basis, my great-grandfather came into Egypt, 70 people. That whole generation is dead, right? You know, not to be callous about it. But the whole generation is dead. So what does that person have? So he's praying to Hashem that he exists, and that his presence exists. Or is it Dafka Moshe Rabbeinu? You know, you're the leader of the people before Avram was the leader of Yitzchak Yaakov. So look, now you're the leader of this many people.
no, I don't think so. I don't think it means that just promotion. No, I think it means the whole Jewish people. That you should see how much Hashem cares for you, how much He takes care of you. Before you were weak, and now you're a tremendously strong nation. That you grew from 70. That means Hashem has invested into this nation.
I'm saying, from the person's perspective, it's their
They know their history. I mean, they know where they're coming from.
Hashem is letting them know about their own existence.
Not
I'm
their.
talking about Shlomo ben something ben Reuben.
If it was just him, there would be no reason for him to count. He knows he exists. No, the idea was that you started off with 70 people, and Hashem invested into that those 70 people. So you see Hashem's closeness and caring for the Jewish nation, and that affects every individual, even though they didn't necessarily live during the time of Egypt, but they still see Hashem taking care of them. So that was the third reason. So the psukim say, these are the countings of Moshe and Aaron, and the leaders of Israel counted. It says these are the countings of Moshe and Aaron. There's an emphasis on Moshe and Aaron. That really reflects the reason that they went to be counted, each individual, by Moshe and Aaron. This is the counting of Moshe and Aaron. That's one reason. To be counted by Moshe and Aaron. The psukim continue and say, these are all the countings according to their fathers' households from 20 years and up. Everyone who goes out to the legion in Israel. That was the second. Anyone who goes out to war. I'm counting those who go out to war. That reflects the reason of those who go out to war. And finally said all their countings were 600,000. That was the final reason. The reason that Hashem wanted to show that they went from 70 to 600,000. The first pasuk reflects the first reason that they went from, that they all went in front of Moshe and were blessed by Moshe, and that was the merit. That was the first reason. The second pasuk explains that they were counting just to go out to war. You need to know how many soldiers you have. And the final reason was given was that you have 600,000 people. Look, you came from 70 to 600,000. What an amazing thing. You see how much Hashem cares for you. And these are the different reasons. Each one fits very nicely in with the Ramban, with what the Ramban says. The pasuk for each reason. So it would seem that they're all
Isn't he counted the same way that it's to say from age 20 to 50?
So if you go with Rashi says that there were really 69, and she was born between Denekam. Yocheved was born with Denekam.
So then they were counted differently.
They were counted, yeah. And but I mean there would be even, but there they counted 0 plus to over 100. But, yeah, and here it's in just two short things I found interesting, and then we'll go to another idea. It says, how are the Jewish people counted? It says they were counted based on their, if you take a look at verse 3 or verse 2, it says, by the number, each meal according to their head count. Right? You should count the number of heads that the Jewish people have. If you go later on in the Psukim, it counts the Levium. It doesn't say that you go to Parak Gimel.
You're counting Levium for these babies.
We could switch places. Here. It says, by by Perek Gimel Pasuk Tesvav. It says, count the sons of Levi according to their father's household, and it doesn't mention according to their head count. So why by the Jewish people does it say their head count, and why by the Levim it doesn't say their head count? So, right. What?
Good question.
Over here it says by 739, 315 it says you just count them. And over here in the beginning it says you count them according to the number of heads. So I'll pose another question. What would happen if a person was born with two heads? How would he be counted? Would that be considered one person or two people? How would you count it? What? There you go.
Wait. Cautious. If it's a Yisrael, so then he's not going to survive to 20. So there's no problem. You count the heads. One head will survive. Hopefully. And if he's a Levi, where you count them at 30 years old, where it's possible for him to live, so you count as one person.
Okay, yeah. So then it comes out then, like you're saying. So if you go by the head count, then you would count two people, because it says, like you're saying, the head. So that's what Rabbi Yonah Said says. The Jewish people were counted from 20 years and up, so no one survives that long, at least during the wilderness.
Oh, I was right.
That's what Rabbi Yonah Said says. Check. So by the 20-year-old, they usually don't survive that long. So there was no 20-year-old that lived that long with two heads, so therefore it wasn't an issue. Count them by their heads. But by the Levium, they were counted from day 30. It would be possible for them to have a two-headed child. So therefore, if you say count according to heads, the numbers will be off, I guess, or they'll be out. I don't know. But Rabbi Yonah said Eibshitz. Yeah. He lived
Does he have a shortened version?
I don't know what it's
Like the Ramchal versus
Tiferes Yonason. That was the staple. One of his farmers.
But is that the reason he gives why they count them?
No, that's the reason why the Psukim say head counts by the Jewish people and not by the Levim. It changes the language of the Psukim. The command to Moshe by the Levim was count them, but the command by the Jewish people was count according to the number of heads.
Why isn't just count the bodies in both cases?
Right. Yes, it could be.
There must be some other reason.
Well, no, I'm just explaining the discrepancy of Sukkah.
I'm saying that's the reason for the discrepancy. It's not a solution. It's once you have the discrepancy, it becomes a solution.
Right.
But in fact, the solution to is to count everybody by their father's family.
Right.
To live, it's not the problem.
Right. Yeah.
So why did God say count their being this way? Because in doing this, it created a problem that Jonas and Abishad seem to have resolved.
Right.
So my question is, why did God create one wrong? It need to. There must be some significance to the role of Levi and the role of Israel.
Right. So,
for instance, the division within Levi of the father's houses is very, very significant. I'm not sure that it is as significant within the tribe.
right. That's for sure.
Right? Because different fathers' houses have different responsibilities in terms of disassembling the Mishkan and carrying it. So maybe that's one. But Levi had more subdivisions in a sense than the other tribes.
He doesn't address.
And the actual census, when you see it, is not this is the number of the tribe of Levi, this is the number of the tribe of Levi, and this is the number of each of the groups of Levi that descended from Levi's first group of sons. This doesn't happen with the other tribes.
Right. Yeah, because
assignments.
Right. All that's important by the other tribes is just which tribe they are. Right. Not that. We have a few minutes. There's a Gemara at the end of Megillah that has a question. It says, why is why does Bechukosai, I think we mentioned this last week, but why is we always end the year right before Shavuos we have Bechukosai, which has the Tochacha, the curses, and we say that we want the year to end and the curses be part of last year. Let's start like fresh. That's what the Gemara says. So the Gemara asks, I don't understand which year is it? Rosh Hashanah is not till a few months from now. So what year are we starting?
It can't be metaphorical.
The Gemara gives a different answer. It could be, I guess. I don't know. I have to work out the metaphor. But
the year, because you know how kids think that the beginning of the year is September?
Right, but what? So you want to say that Shavuos is the beginning of our year?
It's the beginning of the Torah year.
Right, now I hear.
No halachic ramifications whatsoever.
No, that I hear.
We start the Torah fresh.
That's good. No, that I hear. Yeah. The Gemara says another answer, but I hear. The Gemara says that this is the Rosh Hashanah for Peiros Ha'ilum, the fruit of the tree. Meaning the beginning, you're now the expert, Rosh Hashanah. So you know that there are 4 Rosh Hashanahs. I'm glad you're here because I don't remember what they all are. But one of them is Tishrei, right, the one that we're most familiar with. And then there's the fruit of the tree. So I think the Shloh asked a question over here. He says, I don't understand. There are 2 other Rosh Hashanahs. So what about those? Why is it specifically in front of the fruit of the tree Rosh Hashanah? Meaning let's say there's a Rosh Hashanah for water.
We just started it 2 days ago. I have to bring it with me.
Okay. So that's his question there. For Rosh Hashanah, why specifically this Rosh Hashanah? The Shloh says an amazing thing. He says, when it means fruit of the tree, it doesn't mean necessarily the fruit outside only. But every person is considered to be a tree. And we're judged, it says like the Pasuk says, Adam Eitz HaSadah, the man is the tree of the field. So we're judged on how much fruit that we'll produce, meaning how many mitzvahs we'll do. So therefore it's our spiritual Rosh Hashanah. Similar to what you're saying. But it's a spiritual Rosh Hashanah, and so therefore we don't want curses in our physical Rosh Hashanah when we're judged for our physical, for this world, and we don't want curses when we're being judged how many mitzvahs, how much learning we'll do. So therefore we end the year, we have it part of the previous year. That's the Gemara says. So Joseph asks a question. He says, so why is and he gives and explains why is BaMidbar. So why can't it be immediately preceding Shavuot? Why do you have to have a buffer of BaMidbar? So he explains you need a buffer. But Moshe says a very different reason. Moshe Feinstein, they quote from him, I couldn't find it. Where Moshe Feinstein says that it was important that the Midbar specifically in front, preceding, that it immediately precedes Shavuot. So what's the idea? Because right before Shavuot, we're about to go and about to accept the Torah. And we look, and we know there are great people. We have our Moshe Feinsteins, we have many of the great sages, and we think, what about us? What's our role? So therefore we learn Parshas BaMidbar to show that each one is counted, not only as part of a group, but as an individual. Each one of us went in front of Moshe. There's a beautiful Pnei Yeshua, I believe in Kedushin. The Pnei Yeshua says if you take the name Yisrael as an acronym, it says, you can read it, I'll just say it in Hebrew, Yesh Shishim Riboy Osios the Torah. There literally translates, there are 600,000 letters in the Torah. And if you take the acronym, Yud is Yesh, Shin is Shishim, Reish is Riboy, which is 600,000, Aleph Aleph is Osios, and Lamed is Li Yisrael, the Torah. That each one of us, and the idea of the Bnei Yeshua is saying that each one of us are rooted in the Torah, and we have our own specific portion in the Torah that's untouchable by anyone else.
Is it true though?
Is it true?
600,000 brothers and sisters.
No. It's complicated how to work out the numbers because they're off like by 300,000. If you just take it, but there are answers. But if you were to count them, you get way less than 600,000.
That's a big difference.
But if you say it at a Shabbos table, people aren't actually counting.
Don't worry, they're not going to count. Listen, if they do, we'll take them till next week, and then they'll forget why they're counting. So don't worry. So each person has. There's a story. There's a story. There's a story with Rav Shmelka. Rav Shmelka, who once saw a person, a very wealthy person, on Erev Yom Kippur in Shul, saying Tehillim. So Rav Shmelka says, you should know. He goes over to him and says, what's the punishment if someone deserts the army? So he says that it will be a deserter gets his punishment. He goes, and what happens if instead of deserting the army, he goes from the tank brigades and he goes to and he becomes the parachuters? What happens to him? Same thing. She says you should know that you also have a portion. Your portion on Erev Yom Kippur is not here in the base measures saying Tehillim. Your portion is to give tzedakah. That's your job. And when a person does it, the same thing is true with Torah, that each one of us have our own portion in Torah, and therefore as we go to, and that's the idea, as we go for Shavuos, so we read BaMidbar to say that we're counted, that each one of us count, and that we're rooted in the Torah, that we have Yisrael. There's a Gemara that says Rabbi Akiva, everyone knows Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva is the whole Torah comes from Rabbi Akiva and his students. And once he was saying a drasha. He was saying a drasha in Shul, I guess on Chumash, I don't know. And one of the other Tanaim there said, listen, go back to Allah. Go back to learning halacha. This is not your place. It means that Rabbi Akiva's, even though Rabbi Akiva was the greatest in the halachic aspect of Torah, when it came to Agarata, that wasn't his portion necessarily. That's what Rabbi Vigner Nebenzahl says. So therefore he was told that this is not your portion. Meaning a person has a place that even the greatest people, even the Rabbi Akiva, and the greatest...
Rabbi Akiva was able to do it.
He says, the way Rabbi Nebenzahl says there were greater people. Certainly he was able to.
I'm saying he is half their God. Rabbi Akiva?
He says that?
He's in there.
Oh, yeah. It's not a... Yeah, I'm just thinking that he has a portion that, even as great as he was, in this area that wasn't, someone else had a portion that he couldn't touch. That there was greater than him. That's what Rabbi Nebenzahl says. We find that Rav was greater in one area and Shmuel in another, and therefore before Shavuos, we read this to remind us that each one has a portion that is, I don't know if you stay up, don't stay up, but to take something out of the Shavuos that each one of us, and maybe we'll be zocha to it on Shavuos, have their portion of Torah on Shavuos, and that's could be the encouragement of reading BaMidbar, because if you look at the shelves, it's quite daunting. You go into any shul, any base measures, anywhere, you look at the shelves and you say, it's impossible. And then you realize that this is just a small portion because there's a room in Lakewood that's bigger than those partitions. They're literally wall to wall with books. Book shelf after shelf after shelf. You walk into the room, the room is in Lakewood. They have arguably the biggest books, like library in I don't know, the biggest, but one of the biggest in the world. But they have literally shelves, hundreds and hundreds and thousands and thousands. You walk into the room, it's like depressing.
Where is that?
Lakewood, yeah.
Why are you here?
Wow.
What?
Why are you here?
What? Why? I was depressed. It was too much. It was overwhelming. So you walk in, it's quite like troubling. It's like, what's left? And then, so the Moshe says, says that's why we read BaMidbar right before Shavuos. Shavuos is the time that we're makabel the Torah. And we go and accept the Torah, and we should say, don't worry about all the books. All the books could have written whatever they wrote. But within you, but they left you a portion that you could have you have your portion in Torah as well, and therefore a person is it may be a pshat in a pasuk, understanding a Rashi, understanding a word, and with that understanding, that's his portion. That if he did, that it's so important that it's only for him, and no one else can do it. Therefore, he really has a responsibility to the entire Jewish nation, because if he doesn't say that understanding, that no one will. So that's the Moshe explains before Shavuos.